Hey there gang, welcome into another Hades 2 video. Today we're going to be taking a look at all of the aspects currently available in Hades 2 Early Access and ranking them from S to D. Actually, let me update this real quick. Okay, we're going to be ranking them from amazing to needs work, and we're going to be going in the order that's presented here on the tier list. I'll link the tier list below in case you want to make your own. The last tier list I made at about 20 hours playtime, and I put Poseidon in the lowest tier. Boy was I wrong, and boy did I make that tier list way too early. I'm now at about 47 hours playtime, and I have a lot of different opinions, so here we go. First up, we have Aspect of Mel on the staff. This aspect is definitely great. I like its special effect that it reduces your Omega channel time, especially on cast builds. I think that's really fun. The staff on its own is already really strong, it gets good hammers, and it has a really strong special and attack option. It's just a really well-rounded weapon. It has a nice special effect even if it's not the best one. At least Aspect of Mel is an aspect of the Circe, I think it is. Aspect of Circe is fine. It has the benefit of being a staff, which is already just fine on its own, but that special effect of regenerating magic just isn't really worth it. It's really awkward. You have to land, I believe it's 21 attacks or specials for it to start regenerating. It's just really awkward to use, and the channeling from Mel's is better, or our next one up is way better. This is Aspect of Momus. If you don't know about this aspect, well, you should, because it's probably the best aspect in the game. It gives you bonus special damage and also gives you healing even when you have healing turned off. It just has insane DPS, especially if you're getting the special hammers that increase how fast you shoot your specials or double the rate at which you shoot out your specials, or both. This thing is a monster, and if you put something like Poseidon special on it, you're going to shred the game. Moving on to the Sister Blades, we have Aspect of Mel here, which gives you bonus backstab damage. I think Aspect of Mel is probably good. Bonus backstab is pretty good, especially if you've got like hook knives on it. You really want hook knives on it to start doing an insane amount of backstab damage. It's a good aspect, it's not bad at all, but there are better ones coming up. Next up for the Sister Blades, we have the Aspect of Artemis. Aspect of Artemis is definitely amazing. What it does is, on a 15-second cooldown, you get a free parry, which is basically just a free hit nullification while you're charging your Omega attack. And then after that hit nullification, your next number of attacks have a chance to deal bonus critical damage. The free hit is fine, it's not really what we're here for. What we're here for is for all that bonus critical damage after. You can put out insane numbers with this thing, definitely the best Sister Blades has to offer. Basically just a better version of Mel. Last for the Sister Blades, we have the Aspect of Pan. Aspect of Pan is definitely stronger than Mel's, but not as strong as Artemis is, so I'm going to put it in great here. What Aspect of Pan does is any opponents that are in your cast, your specials will seek them out and hit them. The problem is the cast usually doesn't last that long. I find this aspect really benefits from the specials that from the cast that can be thrown out, like if you get Zeus's where you can throw it forward, or Hestia's where you can throw it forward. This synergizes really well with those, and especially synergizes with special boosting hammers, like ones that give you more knives thrown, things like that. Definitely a great, really strong aspect, but is outranked by Artemis. Up next is everyone's favorite, the torches. We have Aspect of Malinui up first, which gives you bonus Omega special time. Depending on your rank here, I believe it goes up to 2.5 seconds extra time for each flame. This is, in my opinion, the best of the torches right now. I'm going to go ahead and put it in great tier. If you slap Poseidon special on these babies, you're going to be melting bosses. If you're spamming that Omega special, you'll just have a ton of those orbs going around and dealing a ton of damage as you run into things with them. The only problem is the special, I believe, doesn't do any knockback. And it's kind of a one-dimensional weapon. You have to get pretty close to start hitting them if you're doing the Omega special. But the damage output is insane if you're able to keep dodging those attacks. It is a bit of a one-dimensional weapon right now. Like, all you're doing with this thing is the Omega special, but you're just killing things so fast with it. And I think Poseidon is really the best you can do. I never put anything else on this weapon, so it's a little bit boring after a while, but it's really strong. Next for the torches is Aspect of Moros. Aspect of Moros, you throw your little ghosty attacks out, and then they want you to use your special to blow those up for bonus damage from the explosion. The problem with Aspect of Moros is the ghosts go a little bit far. It's just a little awkward to use and set up. You're throwing your attacks out, and then you have to kind of get close, but not too close and not too far away so that the special can hit them and then set off the explosion, but also you need the enemies to stay near where the ghosts are to make the explosion hit them. It's just a little awkward. I don't think it does enough damage to be worth it either, so I'm going to put this in needs work. Next up, we have a pretty fun one, Aspect of Eos on the torches here, the last one for the torches. The way that it works is you throw out your attacks to the little ghost dudes, and they grow over time, and then when you dash or sprint, those ghost dudes will run back towards you, so you'll be damaging the enemies as the attacks go out, and as the attacks come back to you, the bigger the ghost dudes are, the longer they're out, the more damage they will do. It's a really fun and unique one. I think that sometimes it can be a little hard to get the ghosts to hit enemies when you want them to, because sometimes you just have to dash to dodge an attack or get out of the way, and it can kind of mess up your setup there. I think this one is fine. It's not bad. It could definitely be better. I would say right now, to me, DPS wise, it feels weaker than everything else I have above it currently. Okay, probably most people's actual favorite. We have the axe up next. Melinoe's axe, I think I'm gonna leave here for now so I can think about it a little more. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the Aspect of Charon for the axe here. This is a really fun one. So this one is basically you set your cast down, and if you hit the cast with your Omega Special, the cast will instantly explode and do your Omega cast. So this one synergizes really well with gods like Apollo, who have a very strong Omega cast. It's very fun. It's a very different way to play. If you have one of those boons that can throw out your cast, it's especially strong on this aspect. Very fun and unique way to play. I like seeing cast stuff. There isn't a lot of other cast-based aspects right now, so this one is definitely high on the fun list for me, fun factor. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in great for now. This is a cool one. Aspect of Thanatos on the axe. You get increased critical damage each time you hit an enemy with your Omega attack or special. The max on this, if you rank it all the way up, is 20% critical damage per hit. The best thing, in my opinion, with this weapon is to spin to win. You know, that Omega attack, you're going to get a lot of hits in. Right now in the current build, there are a couple hammers that break the critical rate, so watch out for those. But the 20% critical chance is extremely high. You can put out really big numbers with this. It's very fun. It's very strong. Definitely goes in the amazing tier. Up next, we've got the skulls here. Aspect of Mel. You get bonus damage for each skull. This is bonus base damage, by the way. Bonus base damage for each skull that you've thrown out and have not yet retrieved. So base damage, if you don't know, in Hades and Hades 2, base damage is accounted for before any damage multipliers from your boons. So this aspect pairs really well with attack percent increase boons, such as Demeter attack increase, for example. So if your base power is going up and then you're getting a percent modification after that, your skulls are going to be doing a ton of damage, especially on the Omega attack. You're going to see some really big numbers. I've seen hundreds, I've seen thousands come out of this thing. Very fun. The only problem is the special feels kind of weak. You're not really going to be using the special with this thing, I don't think at all, unless you really need to get a second curse on something, but it's primarily you're just going to be attacking with this thing. In terms of strength and raw damage, I think this is a great aspect. Okay, next up for the Argent Skull, we have Aspect of Medea. This one's a little wonky. You kind of load your attacks up, and if you don't do anything, they'll explode after a certain amount of time in your hand, essentially. But what you can do is you can load them up and then special into an enemy, and those attacks will explode as you special into them for a big burst of damage. It's a very unique one where you're using your attack and your special. The thing that's tough about it is you're pretty vulnerable while you're loading up your attacks before you dash in. Also, you're not getting any iframes as you're dashing into enemies, so a lot of the time I find myself getting hit when I'm just trying to hit someone. The only time you're going to get iframes is if you fully charge the Omega special on this thing, which I tend to go for more than just the base special, but you don't always have the 20 magic for that, so it's a bit tough sometimes. I think the numbers it puts out are pretty high. It increases, I believe, attack and special percent damage, so it can put out good DPS. The problem is it's just not very safe. I think it's great. Could be better if it was a little safer, but it's still got great damage. Okay, last for the skull, we have Aspect of Persephone. The way that this one works is as you're damaging things, you're filling up a little meter called Glory. Once you've generated enough Glory, it will enhance your Omega Special to make your Omega Special last longer. The problem is your Omega Special lasting longer isn't that beneficial, other than you're invincible as you do it. So I guess it does give you some safety, but it takes a while to charge up, and it's just not that good of an effect. When you could get bonus damage from the other two skulls in comparison, I think it's good, but not great. Last up, we have Mel's Axe that I skipped before. I think it's a fine aspect. It's just kind of straightforward. Doesn't really do anything special. I think it's a good aspect. Definitely better than these two for sure, but not as good as the ones above it. And again, this is early access, so a lot's going to change, and I'm also currently only at 47 hours playtime. What that means is I have a lot more experimenting to do, a lot of learning to do, but I think by now we pretty much know what the good ones are and what the kind of stinkers are. If you agree or disagree, please be sure to let me know in the comments. See you guys in the next one. Take care.